first few nights I would wake up and the first thing I think is, shit, I've got cancer. But that was a few nights. And because I understand how to bring myself back into the present moment, it didn't last very long. And I haven't had any panic attacks. I haven't had any, which amazes me still actually to this day, that even with the most stressful, faced with your own death, I felt honestly all right.
Hi everyone, it's episode 3 of Behind the Brood.
We're official podcasters now.
I know.
Can't believe.
How did we get here?
Pros.
Yeah, and
crazy.
we've got really it's a nice episode today.
Absolutely.
We're welcoming our friend, a Brood columnist, psychotherapist.
OG.
She is a Brood OG right from the beginning. She's been there contributing to the magazine and supporting us.
Supporters,
Yeah, really big supporter. She's been at every Brood Live so far. Sarie Taylor.
Amazing.
She is a mum of 2 and she is coming along today. She was diagnosed with breast cancer at the end of last year. So she's going to be talking about the juggle whilst obviously going through something like that as well.
She's in the middle of chemo, isn't she, at the moment? So it'll be such an interesting insight. I mean, we always talk about the juggle anyway, but wow, there's a juggle in itself. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, she's going to have some good nuggets of info as well in there, like you said, definitely.
Yeah. She's an amazing person. So we'll look forward to you hearing that later. But for now, we're going to talk about Brood and where it's at right now. So we're very excited.
We're days away, aren't we now, from...
edition 7.
Wow.
We're looking forward to everyone seeing it.
It's crazy how it just feels like it's just gone.
Well, it's bi-monthly, isn't it? So it's our first bi-monthly one.
It's gone really fast this time.
Kind of.
It feels like it's...
It's but in a good way. I think it's been nice to have that momentum and the adrenaline, and there's so much excitement, and we were ready for it. And to have the 12 women that we've got on that cover is...
it's another one of your bright ideas, isn't it?
Another one, to be fair, like the vision I had in my head, it's exactly it. And bar a little bit of OCD on my part of thinking, I wish I could just put such a body there at the front, because there's a space there where then everybody could have been, that bit. But considering the time,
I was just about to say, but then you put that into reality. We had wardrobe malfunctions.
We had literally 5 minutes to get the shot.
We had people on deadlines.
It'd have been good to have like a bit of a behind the scenes, like you said, just because imagine what people's perspective of it is
of getting that shoot together.
But our reality, what we went through, like say that day, it's crazy.
Well, it was just meant, obviously, coordinating that with hair and makeup at the hotel. We was at the Me Hotel in London, who were fantastic.
Stunning hotel.
Beautiful.
Very dark for lighting, but stunning hotel.
But it's the cover is so powerful, but it's because obviously they said, well, you've got to be in it as well, which a bit out of my comfort zone. And I think I said it on the last one because we just had the day.
I know what you're
going
to say.
But I'm the only bloody one who's not had hair and makeup.
To be fair.
Very check. Well, I did have thankfully Nicola, hair made easy, she did my hair. But I was like, oh, for God's sake. I mean, I look like, I should have had a spray tan, but never mind anyway. And I'm still, I had to have my photos took separately for it as well, which around deadline week, so I'll probably look as Raggedy Ann on them as well. But
the thing is,
it's all real life.
A Brood shoot is hard anyway, from a normal cover perspective, because we go to locations, we try to adhere to whoever we're shooting to make their life easier, because we're so grateful of the time, so that's hard enough as itself. So basically we times that by 12. We've got to get 12 ladies in one room at the same time with their schedules.
Oh, on that day,
making sure they're all looking, making sure, like you said, happy.
Because I stayed over the night before in London, didn't I? I was like there at 10 and got the hair and makeup set up and everything, and everybody had a time slot, but very quickly theory. It's like and to be fair, but the fact that it was only me that didn't have makeup done was
a miracle.
Yeah, pretty.
But it's crazy as well to think that, that time that it was I think it was 2:00, weren't it? That everyone, like some people,
3 people had to go at 2.
And like we were all like, and
so you were like, but that's what I mean. There was no, I couldn't step out of that, and we couldn't have a little confer.
Micromanage it.
Let's just move that. But I'm like,
so you got that.
Considering
shot in that short, very short space of time.
And I think everybody's reaction that's involved, that's seen the preview of it, Obviously, I think it'll be out on socials.
Literally
days.
Yeah.
So
and
yeah,
obviously,
it's exciting.
And each individual lady we invited down has got their own success, unique motherhood
story.
business story.
Yeah. It was very important, I think, to have people like when we was reaching out to people. Obviously, there's people in there that have supported us that we've worked with before, but then there's people that we didn't know. And I think it's so nice that, we've got Elsbeth, who's head of family law, she's on the corporate, like the top of the game corporate ladder. We've got Joanna Jensen, who's been founder of Child's Farm. We've got Michelle Griffiths Robinson, who's an Olympian, amazing. Now she's like a life coach and motivational speaker. She's a fellow Women's Aid ambassador with me as well. So, Michelle's incredible. There's like Lavina, who's got an MBE, whose contribution to fitness and health, that's what she was awarded that for. We've got presenters and actresses.
It's a very strong addition, isn't it? Because of what all them ladies bring to the table. And I think I've said before on the podcast, one of my favourite parts of the magazine is listening to people's stories, and we've got 12 very unique individual stories about success, not just success, but how
what inspires them, like you said as well. And that's what I mean. It's got who inspires them. So it's interesting to find out, like you said, from their perspective, who's inspired them, on their journey, like you said, because they've all got, like I said,
because obviously there's so many women, they've each got their 2 pages each, and it was all about how they've been inspired by women and what Women's History Month, because obviously it's International Women's Day and it's Women's History Month in March, so that was why this month.
We got to see it.
Do you know what the questions are that the women have been asked for?
Rob hasn't actually read the magazine.
I'm digital,
so. He's allergic to print.
Neither of them
I can't look at paper.
So no, and even for me, just sitting down and having a minute to reflect, obviously I had to answer the questions myself and stuff, and to think what it means. And I think that once upon a time, in not that long ago, that even for me to have even thought that you can start a business, be an editor of a magazine or something, that just wasn't an option for women, like not that long ago, really, in the grand scheme of things. So, and also how far things have come on, but still, you hear some people say, "Oh, how much more equality do they need?" But we're still miles away. Like there's never been a woman president in America, and there's so many firsts still. I think in politics, even in the world of entrepreneurship, the amount of male entrepreneurs compared to female entrepreneurs the ratio is so, I can't remember, I'm never very good at remembering numbers and stuff, but that ratio is huge. There's a huge difference, and it's still heavily tipped in the scales that there's so many more male entrepreneurs out there, yet the female entrepreneurs that are doing it are doing so well. So I think it's really nice to and celebrate that, and just have that moment of reflection as to what it means, because you're so busy going through life and you're doing it, but just to think that once upon a time, the women like Mother Pucker, she's obviously amazing. She's one of the cover stars of this edition, and what she fights for with the flex appeal for equality in working environments, to so women aren't pushed out of the workplace for having a baby, and not having a job after they've had maternity leave and stuff, and also making it more equal in that a man can choose to have the paternity leave for longer than 2 weeks, so that if he wants to take the lion's share of having the baby because maybe the woman is earning more, then that's an option as well.
Absolutely okay.
And she's fine, bless her, little Lola has been in Parliament already with Anna there.
She's very much at the front of this edition, and for a reason, because this kind of signifies what she's not fighting for, but shouting the loudest about.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's
absolutely
brilliant.
I mean, Anna's obviously Anna's breastfeeding on the cover, and the words you know, when it came to deciding how, you know, there's no room for writing like we normally have and everything, and it was just those words. Just really wanted to have just the power of a woman, and to have that, like that word power with Anna right above it,
doing a thing,
breastfeeding amongst all these incredible women. It just is, I think, it's really powerful, such a strong image, and it's really nice, I think, to just have that opportunity to kind of empower and excite people. And I'm really excited for everyone to
it's good. It's really good.
And
so where can they buy it?
Well, obviously, the best way to get it from our part, shameless plug, but if people subscribe, they get it delivered straight to the door.
I feel like we need
they don't have to move, you know.
I feel like we need a slogan.
But
jingle.
It's like, you know, you might be having the worst
day. Now, so we need a jingle.
Well, we need a dance if we're going to do it.
Sod off with your dance. I'd rather do a jingle than a bloody dance.
I've told you, this is how we're going to get the subscribers in. No. But you might be having the worst day, you know, where the kids are driving you potty, or it's been a stressful day work-wise, and then BROOD will drop through your door, pick it up and make you feel all rosy and cozy again.
It's just that familiarity, I think, with the people who we have in the magazine, people can just relate to, and we always buzz off, don't we, them messages we get. I picked it up because we're in offices throughout the UK, you know, people subscribe, buy it in WH Smith's, and people write to us and say, you know, I've just come across this. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, we're a new brand. Just come across your magazine, and I just wanted to say it really helped me out on this day or this.
But when that woman took it on the plane, she took it on the plane. I think again, that's the one that I remember from Heathrow. Taking it with her on the plane.
She went out of her way to find me on LinkedIn, didn't she, to say how much she'd enjoyed it, and she'd read it all the way from London back to LA, wasn't it?
So that was
amazing. So genuinely, obviously, if you know somebody that's doing the juggle, it genuinely, and it's not all serious. It's just about real.
Well, it's far from
inspiring.
Exactly. Yeah, it's real.
It's all the lifestyle elements as well, isn't it? So that's the.
And next time out of a jingle.
And it smells nice. It smells
nice.
Yeah, but like, you know, I like cold. Well, I've been watching Vogue in the 90s. It's like my favourite programme at the minute on Disney. And I'm just watching it and I'm thinking, God, I remember how much I loved magazines, and I'd have just pages out the magazines that looked good on my wall and
I had
stuff.
FHM.
Yeah, FHM, I bet you did.
Yeah. I had FHM. Same thing.
No, but it's a nice magazine. I mean,
no, I get that.
We've
got one.
So it's time to welcome Sarie. You've got to skedaddle, Rob, because there's not enough seats, unfortunately.
I'll try to be quiet. I'll sit over there.
But otherwise you and Sarie might end up having a cuddle anyway as well. Like she loves Rob.
You're going to have to adjust the microphone slightly.
Yeah, she's a bit taller than you, isn't she?
Just a little bit taller, yeah.
Yeah. So welcome. You go, and then we'll welcome our Sarie.
I'm excited.
So for those of you who are watching on YouTube at BROOD Magazine, you're probably wondering why I've got this lovely hair wrap on my head. Well, we just wanted to say a huge thank you to our sponsors, Hair Made Easy, without whom the Behind the BROOD podcast would not have been possible. So Hair Made Easy, you need to check them out. Nicola, the founder of Hair Made Easy, has become a good friend of ours since we started BROOD. She's an incredible female founder. She's created some amazing hair products that go to salons throughout the UK, and also there are loads of products that can really help you at home, especially if you're rubbish with your hair like me. So these hair wraps, for example, have stopped my hair being frizzy. It helps it dry faster. She's got the most amazing brushes. So dry your hair the easy way. Treat your hair with the extra large hair wrap from Hair Made Easy, 100% bigger than.
Nice. That was lovely, that.
Are you all right there, boys?
It's bloody lovely. You'll never catch me having a show out on these bad boys now.
Well, I don't know why you've got one on. You've got no hair.
Hey, come on.
Anyway, if you want to join me and the boys and get yourself some Hair Made Easy products, then check out hairmadeeasy.com. So welcome, Sarie, an OG of BROOD right from the start. You've been a columnist with us and obviously a very good friend, and it's amazing to have you here at the podcast with us. And we just, obviously, it's just for us to have a chat all about the juggle and where life's at and challenges that are presenting at the moment. And obviously I'll let you kind of go into that. And I know obviously all your followers and followers of BROOD will know where you are and stuff. So
thank you. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, it's nice to be out. I've not been out properly for weeks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I've,
we
been very
treated you
picky
today.
with who I've put myself around recently. So it is nice to be out in the real world again. Just hope my oncologist isn't listening because I'm not supposed to be out in the real world. But, maybe we'll talk about this, but life has to continue on.
And you're stubborn.
And I am stubborn, yes. There is a balance, though, isn't there? Being stuck in somewhere, feeling sorry for yourself, going over things, and actually even just getting out in the wide world and seeing, people are still ticking along and the world's still moving. It actually makes you feel a lot better. So it is nice to be out. So as you know, like my normal day job is psychotherapist and coach. And then, unfortunately, in November, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So that kind of very quickly turned everything upside down. I'm really kind of in the thick of it at the moment through chemo treatment. Yeah. So I've had my operation, which was, I don't know that you need to know this, but I had my lump removed, which is good, and a reduction. And I've always wanted a reduction. Yeah. Because I've got massive boobs. Yeah. And actually, do you know what? Anyone out there with massive boobs that's thinking of a reduction, I wish I'd done it years ago now, because actually the operation was nowhere near as bad as I thought it would be. It was dead easy. They had a bit of trouble, but that was because they removed all my lymph nodes. But the actual boob itself, so now I have this banging 22-year-old boob on the left, which stays in place when I take my bra off, which is a treat. Yeah. But then I do have the original on the other side still, right? Which won't be forever.
Yeah, I think you spoke about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that eventually, after all my treatment, they'll match that side up, and I'm not mad about that. As I say, my boobs are pretty good, and I cannot wait to get them out after it's all finished.
You need to go find need to go find a nudist beach somewhere.
He's got the best of both worlds now. It's like, which size do I fancy tonight? He's a very, very lucky man.
Oh yeah.
So there was that, and that was fine. That was all good. Chemo, I don't want to scare anybody that might end up going through it. You get there, but it is brutal. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's horrific. Start phase 2, round 2 of that next week. So yeah, that's me just kind of in the thick of juggling life, work. When you work for yourself, business doesn't stop. So I'm not I say it's a luxury to work for someone else and just be off sick, but I'm not so sure it would be, because when I am able to work, and I've got really understanding clients and things, that when I am able to work, I love the fact that I can work. I love my job. I'm lucky.
Like what you were saying about mentally, like it just being out today, getting that balance of having something in your life that's going to mentally make you feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
And have a purpose.
Yeah, and just feel normal for 5 minutes. Because it is very, everybody that sees me will instantly ask me about cancer or chemo or, you've lost weight or this or that or can I see your boob? So people are interested, it's fine, and I'm happy to talk about it. But it is nice just to sometimes I'll get through a whole day of work and I'm like, I've not even thought about it for a second.
Yeah. Because you're not defined by it's just something you're going through.
And it has to become your priority. It's like you're suddenly thrown into a situation where, we try and prioritise our lives, like the kids and work and the balance, and we talk about the juggle and all of that. And then when something like this happens, it is totally taken out of your control, and you realise actually that just all becomes, in the nicest possible way, bullshit. Yeah. You're just surviving.
Yeah.
Do you feel sorry to interrupt. Do you feel like your perspective instantly changed overnight? Because you hear of people, don't you, having a car crash or losing a partner or mum and dad or cancer, and the perspective just on life changes. They end up doing certain challenges, or the relationship with the children changes, the relationship with the husbands changes because you're so conscious of time. Was that an instant thing for you, or is it something you're going through now?
I think it's continuously evolving, but the second I heard that word that I had cancer, I think it's normal to kind of go into a bit of shock and disbelief. So I kind of went through that, but it was probably maybe even the day after, where it was weird. So I was like walking, I don't know, through the streets or in a supermarket, and I felt like I wasn't in the world. I felt like I was watching the world go by, and like mine had stopped. It was the most bizarre experience. And it's going to sound proper cheesy, this, but as much as it's been the most challenging, scary thing in a lot of ways, I've had so many more moments of like gratitude and being grateful for what I do have, and that I've got this opportunity to have the rest of my life that not everybody gets. And I see it in chemo. I see people who are there just fighting for months and a few years, and I'm fortunate enough to not be in that position. But it suddenly makes you realise that, you know, we have not got long on this planet. Like, it is nothing, and it goes so quick. I'm like, I'm just not going to waste it anymore. And it's almost like you feel like you go through a stage where I'm going to be a right selfish bitch from now on. But I'm pretty good at being selfish anyway. But I'm like, this is going to be next level. And not really that, but I'm not going to do stuff I don't want to do.
But it's not selfish, it's
just real life. I don't have, you know, as soon as you're faced with the idea that you might die, I don't think you ever really realise that life is short. Yeah. Until you're like, oh, hang on a minute, it actually could be really short. Yeah. And so then you're like, so what would I want? And it might sound a bit weird, but in order to be accepting of moving on and having my treatment, I almost had to come to peace in that it's like about 2 weeks where you don't know if it's spread or not. Yeah. That's the worst bit, because I'm like, am I fucked or am I not? I don't know. And you've almost got to carry on with life, even though you really don't know whether you've got one ahead of you or not. And the only way I came to peace of mind with that is to be at peace that if I died, I'd still be all right, and so would everybody else. And it's a weird feeling. But really, it's quite freeing though. Yeah. I was a bit like, and I know this is my job, I don't want to get too deep, but it was a bit like my ego thinks my kids can't survive without me and my husband, and they all need me. But it's just ego. The reality is they would be okay. They would continue on. I would be okay. I'd be none the wiser, you know, and I don't have a fear of dying. So, for me, it was like very freeing to go, well, all I need to do now is just try and fight to stay here. But it's not on me to worry about everyone else's feelings, how they're going to cope, how they're going to manage. And that is honestly just felt weirdly quite nice. Yeah, to just focus on just to on go, you is what it is. Whatever's going to happen, we are all going to be okay. It's not ideal, but we get into our egos of like, oh, the world will stop without me. My children will be damaged forever. It's like, actually, do you know what? They'll be all right. Yeah. Do you think, obviously, that's, like you said, it's part of your profession. Yeah. Has that helped you massively? I can't the things imagine. You teach people. I cannot imagine, because, you know, as you know, I was in a mental hospital for a month. I say mental hospital was in the private. It sounds a bit better when I say that, but it was still shithole. But anyway, so it sounds a bit celebrity, doesn't it? Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful. But, you know, even though it was, if I'd have gone back to that time and got diagnosed with cancer, I think it would have been a very different story. Yeah. So like, the first few nights I would wake up and the first thing I think is, shit, I've got cancer. But that was a few nights. And because I understand how to bring myself back into the present moment, it didn't last very long. And I haven't had any panic attacks. I haven't had any, which amazes me still actually to this day, that even with the most stressful, you know, faced with your own death, I felt honestly all right. Yeah. And with the girls, obviously, you've got the big age gap, isn't there, with the girls? Yeah. And we've got daughters the same age, literally. God, I can't imagine how. Yeah, just talk to me about, again, perspective with them two, because I presume perspective is very different with the younger one to the elder one. Do you know what I mean? So like, 17 and 2 is massive. So my biggest fear, or the hardest part of those 2 weeks, was hiding it from my teenager. Yeah, so you held back till you knew where you were at. And because I knew her first question was going to be, "Are you going to die?" Yeah. Like and it was her first question, and I could say to her, "No, yes, okay, like I'm going to be okay." But I didn't want to have that conversation until I could actually make her some promises. Okay. But she was very suspicious. She even said to me, "Has Jodie got cancer? Is my sister?" Right. So she's like a private investigator. Yeah. Like nothing gets past her. So that was really hard. And then that was the conversation I was dreading more than anything, is just telling her those words, which actually makes me feel emotional now. But she just dealt with it like a trooper. She's like, I'm not scared that you're going to die. I'm just sad that you've got to go through it. Yeah. And she's been amazing. The 2-year-old doesn't give a flying fuck about anything other than where the next bit of chocolate's coming from, or, you know. I suppose that's quite nice though, isn't it? A bit like a bit of escapism. Yeah. It's that naivety children bring to anything, like isn't it? Any situation. Yeah.
when somebody when you do lose someone, kids are the one place you can, they're just still smiling in the world.
And as daft as it sounds, like I'm more patient with her because I'm like, before this diagnosis, when I say I'm more patient with her, Matt does a lot. He's just been a shout out to Matt.
We love Matt.
He's just been phenomenal. And so he does the bulk of the work with the kids at the moment. But it's things like before she'd say, Mum, come and play families, or can we play Lego? And I'm like, I've really not got time for this. And my head's in work and I've got to put the tea on it. Whereas now I find it much easier to just go, yeah, we'll sit with you for 5 minutes. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sat there for hours. It's not for me. you know, role play is not for me. Maybe sometimes, but so it's been easier in a way to be patient of just enjoy this moment. Don't feel that what I've stopped doing is trying to do 10 things at once.
Okay.
Be more present.
And just taking things as and when I feel good, I'll do what I can. When I don't, I'm just much more accepting now of, I'm just not up to it.
I think we spoke obviously briefly before, but just to share it with everybody, obviously I had a flare-up of my condition last week, so I wasn't walking very well. I was on diazepam and trying to work through it on the days where I could, then sleeping. And I was saying to you in that normally when it's work and when it's the juggle of just work and the kids, you can kind of justify it on working for the kids' future and blah, blah, blah. And you get a bit of guilt sometimes, but you can kind of, that's you. So I think everybody understands that juggle, but throwing in when, even if people have a cold or you don't feeling well, it's tougher. But when it's something that's going to be chronic pain with flare-ups but when it's in an acute phase, like you said, after chemo, it being so brutal and it just, you're out of the, you can't be in mum mode or work mode or anything. Mentally, that is like really a lot to deal with, to have that thrown into all what we deal with on a daily basis. Anyway, how have you navigated that?
Well, you can be in mum mode and you can be in work mode, but you've got to make adjustments and you've got to lower your expectations. So in my chemo week, where I literally have my head in a bucket for 6 to 7 days, in the morning, what Aria does is she gets up, and she's 2 and she doesn't understand, and we're sleeping in separate beds at the moment. Well, for many reasons, it doesn't matter, but it's just easier. Yeah. And so she'll just come running straight through to me in the morning. Mummy, da-da-da. And in my head, I'm like, I just can't deal with a 2-year-old right at this moment in time. But we just found a way. So she'll climb in bed, I'll stick Disney on, and then I'll close my eyes. She thinks I'm laid next to her, and she get that moment. And then within 10 minutes, she's bored and she's off to find Dad again. So I could lie there and go, oh, this is terrible and I can't do this and I can't do that. But I just take the moments that I can take. Yeah. And it's all about, I talk about this a lot with clients anyways. Like, we can try and juggle everything practically. That's one thing. But we start to suffer when we try and juggle things emotionally.
Yeah.
So you can practically plan and organise your life without the emotional attachment to it. It's the emotional attachment that causes the suffering. Like, it's not enough. I need to do it more. Yes. I need to do it that. It's actually better to spend 5 minutes with your kid present than 5 hours with them not present.
Yeah, completely.
And so we'll tell us, I've not got the time. It takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Be with her. I don't feel like my relationship with my 2-year-old is suffering at the moment. She's still very loving towards me. She still wants mummy, but she's only getting me for 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. But that is, if you're really present, that's worth so much more than being with her for 5 hours.
Yeah, it's us overthinking it if it's
telling ourselves.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people can take a lot from that, what you just said. I think that's one of the biggest barriers we come up against with parents is we speak about it all the time, about the work-life balance with kids and how you approach that. But whether you've got cancer or not, I think you should have that approach.
Absolutely.
And like you said, Aria's response to you is no different. Like you said, you're right in the thick of it at the moment, but your relationship with her has not changed.
No.
But again, that innocence coming from her and that consciousness coming from you is, you have got that balance, and I think it's a really good way of looking at it.
And it is good for everybody to think about that, because it's only when you're thrown into something like cancer, you have no choice to I'm going to have to make some changes the way I see things. Yeah. But you're right, we could do that anyway before anything challenging like that happens. And I'd probably started to do it a bit, but not to the extent where, you know, I'm not really, it sounds odd this, but I don't really experience much mum guilt.
Yeah.
And people talk about mum guilt a lot, and I'm like, I must be a bit, you know, because I don't really experience it. And I think it was probably a good number of years ago where I saw it for really what it was, is that every feeling we experience comes from our thoughts. So if we're feeling guilt, it's because we're thinking we should be doing something different, better, more. It's nothing to, guilt is not a feeling, a sense in your gut that's telling you you're a shit parent. It's a feeling that comes from the dialogue you've got in your head going, I've missed this, I've not done that, I've not done this, I can't pick my child up. That's where it comes from. So it's totally internal. It doesn't exist without us judging ourselves. It just doesn't exist.
Yes. You're completely right. I think, I mean, I'll often say, I know a lot consciously now as I've got older, I know where that comes from in me more so maybe. I mean, everybody will have different reasons and where the root of it is. But when my mum and dad split up when I was 14 and my mum left the family home, and that relationship has had its struggles over the years. So for me, it's always been this, I want to be the best mum that I can be. And so I'm the first one to judge myself and be like, you know, like, but when you just said then about just having those moments, even in bed, you're still in mum mode. And Archer, he loves coming lying next to me and watching Sonic 3 and stuff. And like I say, I might be rolling about from the diazepam and enjoying my high as a kite moments, but it's still there.
Still the connection.
Reading or whatever those
and
little
even
things.
If you're not reading, I've sat with Ari and thought I'll start reading a book and then I feel sick. I'm like, I can't even finish this book. So then I'm just like, all right, book's finished. Move on. But it's like,
I do that anyway.
But it's like a few pages at a time.
Oh, nice.
You just want your rum at the end of it.
That's a very quick story. But it doesn't, like, we just judge ourselves based on ideas and what other people are doing and what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be. And if we just let go of that and just followed what felt right in the moment, and, you know, it's just so much better for them anyway. So much better. Aria is loving at the minute. So me and Matt parent differently, but it works as a balance. And he's very, I don't want her on a mobile phone or an iPad. And I'm like, well, she's fucking going on one because I need
She's got her own mobile.
She's got her own secret mobile that you don't know about, mate.
Yeah, she's got a burner phone.
And it's a better version of the iPhone than yours. But she, so like now, because I've not been putting her to bed at night, she's always asks in the afternoon, whose nights is it tonight? And daddy nights or mummy's night. She likes to know in advance. And Matt's made this character of like, it's a Wiggle, I think. Do you know the Wiggles? It's a bit sad this now, but there's a guy on the Wiggles called Big Strong John. So I heard her saying, Daddy, is Big Strong John putting me to bed tonight? And I'm like, who the hell is Big Strong John? I'm like, what's going on?
Can he put me to bed?
All right. So it was literally, so she'll ask that, and now she wants me because I'm tired, because I can't battle with her and I'm not fighting with her and I'm being a lot more laid back than I might be. She's like, can I watch 10 minutes of Boober on your phone? It's like this cartoon that she likes. I'm like, right, just 10 minutes, don't tell your dad. Even though we're not supposed to have secrets, just don't tell your dad.
Yeah.
And so now she loves going to bed with me because she gets 10 minutes on the phone of Boober. And like, I mean, let's be realistic, that they just want to get what they can out of you most of the time. You know, so it's again, just playing to, it's a bit of a controversial topic about technology and stuff like that. And people won't let the kids go on phones and stuff. But actually, it's not going anywhere, technology.
No,
so you can either teach them to use things within moderation, with boundaries, or they're just going to do it anyway. So for me, I'm all for screen time. I'm all for it. Helps them wind down. It helps settle their nervous system, depending on what they're on. They're not going around shooting, killing people. But, you know, there's a lot to be said for that downtime if that's how they relax. And as I say, it's not going anywhere. You can ban your kids off phones, but the second they get the chance, they're going to get it, and they need to learn to moderate. We know I go scrolling unnecessarily when I'm fed up or trying to switch off. But we have to learn for yourself. Yeah. So I'm all for a bit of.
I think for you as well, it's got to be about the small wins, isn't it? As well. Yeah. So if you're getting an extra 15 minutes with your daughter on a shit day,
and I love that.
Yeah. And she's on
just
her
next
phone.
to me on a phone. I'm
absolutely,
happy.
you can have that.
The little cuddle, the little kisses, the little sniffs. You know.
No, it is.
It's that.
But again, they don't stay that age forever. So an extra 10 minutes after bedtime. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm really conscious with Iris because she's our last Not going again. Definitely not going again.
You said that before, did you not?
I've had the snip now, so
Yeah.
definitely not going again.
Is that not a topic for conversation?
Well, that's another podcast.
Oh, okay.
It's on the BROOD website.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my boobs if you share about yours.
I'm very open about my snip. But I am very conscious because I'm not going to have a 2-year-old girl again. She's 3 next month, and I feel really emotional about it because I know I'm not getting these days back. Whereas with Alfie, I never had that because there was always that option. But with Iris, it's really homed in on that. It's her 3rd birthday, and I'm never going to have... You're still putting in a sleep bag. Yeah. She's probably too old for it. She's in the sleep bag, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so is Aria, and that we love in the morning the sound of like her feet dragging in that sleep bag in the kitchen. It's like,
like a piss snail.
I think we kept it.
Do you know what I mean? And every time I was boom.
But do you know what though? And these moments that we have, and all we can ever really do is enjoy them whilst they're there. And there's always moments like that. Like people go on about give teens a bad reputation. My teenager is the dream. Like I have the best times and moments with her. They're just different, but like you say, if we can spend so much time jumping ahead into the future of like, oh, I'll just get past this week and then I can relax. I'll just get past this month. We'll get through Christmas. We'll get through it. What a waste. Well, that's what I'm not doing anymore.
No.
But I that's what I said. I was totally guilty of that. I've really enjoyed the last 4 or 5 weeks of doing the cover and the podcast party and everything. It's just been a lot, and like I said, it was just all because though I had this ideal in my head.
The emotional build up.
It would all be, I'd have lots of time with the kids, half term, because I'm going to take half term off. And then it was like, but without that expectation there, I wouldn't have felt the way I did yesterday.
Exactly.
At all.
Let go of all expectations.
Yeah.
Can I ask then, if somebody who's stuck in the rat race, who is just grinding it out but is conscious of it as well, and does want to make those changes, but like you said, there's always next week, there's always next month, there's always I'll do it after I'm 40, I'll do it after I'm 45. For somebody who's doing that now, and like you said, your perspective on life changed after the day of being diagnosed with cancer. For somebody who's not going to be diagnosed with cancer but needs to make them changes, how would you advise to do that? Because it's all very well, saying, oh, you need to change, but you've got bills to pay, kids to feed, you want a holiday next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How did you gain that perspective you have without being diagnosed with cancer?
So it's really about, like, first of all, how often, get past this, get past that. How often do you know actually what, if you could wave a magic wand, what would your week look like? Like, what do you actually want to be doing? The amount of times I say to people, what do you do for fun? I don't know. I don't really know. What do you do just for you, unconditional? Not the gym to get fit, not work to earn money. Not what do you do for yourself that's unconditional and you do it just because you like it? Right. Most people have no clue.
No.
So it's starting with that, like, well, what would it look like? One of the questions, funnily enough, that I used to ask clients is, if you were told you had 6 months to live, what would change? What would you do differently? And because like, well, why aren't we doing that?
Yeah.
What are we waiting for?
That's a great question. Yeah.
And I think it's that, and then with so many barriers, well, I can't because of this, I can't because of that. You can work in a busy job with kids, with all of the juggle, and still have peace of mind. It's like understanding how that actually works, that it's not about waiting until something outside of you changes or happens to feel good. Even as daft as it sounds, even with cancer, even going through chemo, I can still access peace of mind and really lovely, good feeling moments, because that comes from within me. It's nothing to do with my external circumstances. And it's learning and exploring that helps you understand it. But it has to start with, stop thinking about how far you're going to jump ahead and actually look at, right, what now on a drab Wednesday could I do for me so that I feel like this drab Wednesday is worth being here?
Yeah. We've been focusing more, and I think more so the last few months, but it's been something we've been trying to integrate with BROOD. It's something that you can so easily fall into when you've got these goals, and when we've like got so many subscribers, or when we've got this, that's when we're making.
I call it the until trap.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't be happy until this. I can't let go of that until this. Until it's not guaranteed. It's all made up. It's all an illusion. Yeah. The only guarantee, and I know it sounds cheesy, but the only guarantee is right now. Yeah. And if you're wasting your days now looking forward to when you'll feel better in the future, it's a total trap.
Yeah. No, and that's what we've kind of just been going, right, like even if it's one email comes through with a subscriber, we'll send it in the group and go, woohoo, celebrate all the, because I said it to Rob the other night, and I was like, don't you realise we're already in it? We're living the dream, because actually,
trying to create.
Yeah, because when you look back, once upon a time, if somebody had said to us, "You're going to be living in this house with 4 kids, running a magazine, doing what you love every single day," even if we've not got loads of, we're not millionaires or whatever.
That won't make you happy either.
Exactly, and I'm like. Actually, you couldn't give us any more, and there was that time where there's 5 years we thought we'd never have any kids, and it's just looking back, actually 13 years ago when we had no kids and we was about to have that first round of IVF. If somebody could have given us what we've got now, you'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, you'd be like, just enjoy the process, because we're going to get there. And it's that lottery, it's trusting, and actually. Again, it seems a bit silly to say when I've got cancer, but the body is always working in your favour. Everything is working in our favour. But the more we come from a place of peace of mind and contentment, like the irony is, we're way more creative. We're better at problem solving. My business has never been as successful since I got more laid back about the whole thing. Yeah. There's a myth that to be successful, you have to really graft.
Yes.
And be stressed.
Yeah.
And people with money are all stressed because you've got to work with it. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's actually bullshit. I'm creating at the moment ICF accredited courses, and people like, you can't do that whilst you've got cancer. You need to. I enjoy it. It's my creative thing. And it's really good. I'm really pleased with it. And you don't have to be stressed.
Yeah.
To move forward with things. In fact, I'd say the opposite. You will move. If I sit down at my desk to create something and I need to do it by Friday and I've got to sit there, my mind just goes blank. I don't want to do it. This is not enjoyable. So I leave it. And then as I'm just going about my business now, I could just be sat there having a cup of tea or doing, and then I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And that's how our creative brains work. They don't work by being forced or pressured.
Yeah.
And then the rest just comes from that. Like, it's just...
It's almost taking a step back to realise, and then everything else, it'll happen anyway.
And people are drawn to you. And, things like meeting people and network, people are drawn to you when you're in your well-being. Like, people sometimes say to me, you're so chill and you're so... what they mean is I'm not highly strung and uptight. I was at one stage. And that's what draws people to you. That's what makes people want to be a part of what you've got and the connection. And that doesn't come from racking your brain and being stressed about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously we know how you work and what you do. So from the audience point of view, how do they stay in contact with you?
So at the moment, things are slightly different. Obviously, we're going through treatment, but I'm still very much there, very present. I try and share reels on social media, Sarie Taylor Coaching on Instagram and all the social platforms. Just sharing what I'm learning along the way, I suppose. And I do have a membership where I do live coaching calls in there and guests and things like that. And that's still very much alive and running through treatment. It's my baby. It's been running now for like 9 years. So that was my priority, to keep that going. And other than that, just come and say hi on social media and share.
Watch the journey.
And just get so many pearls of wisdom from you. We're obviously we're lucky to call you a friend, and even just our little WhatsApp chats and stuff like that. And I know obviously you've spoke at every Brood Live, our 2 Manchester ones and London ones, and everyone's always said how much they've got from listening to you talk. And obviously we're really going to miss you in the Manchester.
So gutted I can't go.
Brood Live.
I feel like I've broke the run now of
I feel like we need to get you on a video link or something. We'll see how you are. And
we'll just put you in for the rest of the year.
I'll come in with like a big mask on over me. I mean, I'm sure it would be absolutely fine, but if I then go to my oncologist and say, I can't have chemo this week because I've got an infection, where have you been?
Yes, we don't want to be responsible
No,
for
absolutely
that.
not.
And there's obviously going to be so much more to come. But so for people that have, heard you today and really took something from it, I think, like you said, just even following you on social media, but those who need that bit more, the membership's a really wonderful service that you've put together.
Yeah. And just to say as well that, again, as cheesy as it sounds, if there's anything anyone takes away from today, it's just to actually pause and go, right, I'm not waiting until next week till like, what do I want right now? Because that is the only guarantee.
Just do it.
Yeah, enjoy today. Thank you for
Thank
joining us, and it's so nice to see you.